Hello, Wonder School. It's Victoria. Happy Friday. Happy art class. So today, because this week's letter was M, we're going to be learning about Mary Blair. So I'm going to show you some of her art before we get started on our project, and I show you all about it, okay? So M is for Mary Blair, and these are some pictures of her, okay? So Mary Blair, she is so cool. She's an American artist, and she is famous for joining Walt Disney Studios in the 1940s. So she worked on so many concept art projects and development for some of these awesome movies that we've seen. So she's worked on Alice in Wonderland. So here's some pictures of her art from that. Also Peter Pan, you might have also seen. Let me move my face. You can see Captain Hook and Peter Pan fighting on his pirate ship. And let me move myself back. And then also Cinderella. So you can see Cinderella and her dress, the pumpkin, and her at the ball. So she's famous for a lot of those movies that we love. But today we're going to be looking at her It's a Small World project. So if you guys have been to Walt Disney, there's the It's a Small World ride, It's a Small World song, and she was one who developed that ride and all of this art. So this was her art behind that. So these are all little worlds made out of blocks. So we're going to be making our own small world today. Okay, so it's basically going to have a similar structure. And this right here, before we start with that, is a book called Pocketful of Colors, The Magical World of Mary Blair. So we're going to watch it really quick. It is about 10 minutes. So if you would like to skip over this part and come back to it later, that's totally okay, just letting you know. But we're going to play it now just to kind of get a better feel for her art style and just to listen to this. And then we'll look at our project.
Pocket Full of Colors, The Magical World of Mary Blair, Disney Artist Extraordinaire. Pocket Full of Colors, The Magical World of Mary Blair, Disney Artist Extraordinaire, by Amy Guillermo and Jacqueline Torville. Illustrated by Bridget Barriger. Under a wide blue sky, on a red dirt road, in a lemon yellow house, there lived a little girl named Mary. Other children collected marbles or dolls, but Mary collected colors of every shade and every hue. One day, Mary's parents announced they were moving out west. As she waved goodbye to the yellow house, Mary tucked her friend Lemon in her pocket. Mary would miss the happy home, but she had new colors to collect. Driving across the sun-bleached desert, Mary spied russet, taupe, and sienna. When she arrived in California, she glimpsed the azure ocean and found groves of golden fruit dripping from viridian trees. In the city, she discovered steel-gray buildings and mauve-tinted skies. Mary opened her sketchbook. She mixed her paints. She would save these shades for just the right time. When she was older, Mary went to art school. She met Lee. He showed her rosy pink and blushing red. She kept those colors in her heart. Together, Mary and Lee painted rainbows. But it was the Great Depression and people were poor. No one was buying rainbows, except one place. Mary landed a job at Walt Disney Studios, one of the first women ever to be hired. Finally, a place for her colors to run and dance and play as they pleased. But on her first day of work, the men in charge didn't want to talk about cerulean or celadon or cerise. They were only interested in black and white. Mary was told to follow the rules. She tried, but her colors were too vivid, too wild. When Mary turned in her work, all her ideas were rejected. Twinkling emerald skies, the men turned them blue. Magenta horses that could fly, the men made them brown and put them in a stable. Peach giraffes with tangerine spots, her bosses just shook their heads. They didn't know what to make of her art. But Walt, the man who owned the company, did. He loved her colors so much, he asked Mary to join him on a trip to South America to meet some new ones. Mary delighted in the colors of Brazil, Argentina, and Peru. She worked hard to capture the vibrant scenery. When it was time to pack her bags, they burst with fuchsia, teal, aquamarine, lime green, and banana yellow. After Mary returned to Disney, her concept art for the studio's upcoming films grew even more adventurous as she drew upon the eye-popping shades she had observed in South America. Cinderella needed a teal pumpkin coach. The caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland could only be aquamarine. And the mermaids in Peter Pan simply had to be lime green. This time, some of Mary's ideas were accepted, but most of her art was still considered too modern, too abstract, and just not right. Mary's colors encouraged her to leave the men with their black lines and strict rules. So she did. Mary quickly found new work, designing advertisements, illustrating picture books for children, and creating sets for plays and television commercials. She enjoyed the freedom of these new jobs. But Mary missed Walt. Then one day, out of the blue, her phone rang. It was Walt. Mary, I have a project for you. I need your wild and beautiful colors. His voice boomed. Walt explained his idea to build a magical ride that would teach people about cultures from all around the world. The ride had to be full of color, which meant there was only one person for the job. Mary, you know about colors I've never even heard of before. Mary smiled, and then she frowned as she remembered the rules and the lines and the men in charge who didn't understand her colors or her style of art. There was only one way to answer. Yes, said Mary, but her yes came with a condition. This time, Mary wanted to be the one in charge. Walt welcomed her aboard. Mary's paint seemed to sparkle when she hung up the phone. She had never been to places like China or Morocco or Kathmandu, but her colors had. Sitting down to work, she squeezed out dabs of paint. Lemon yellow, aquamarine and azure, mauve, taupe and tangerine, russet, sienna, and steel gray, celadon, cerulean, cerise, magenta, teal, indigo, and emerald shined from her palette. And when she picked up her brush, the colors Mary had so carefully collected all her life took her on a trip around the globe. When the work was done and the ride opened, people gasped in awe. It's a Small World was a sensation. When it was Mary's turn to take the ride, she leaned back in the boat and let her colors wash over her. It was a world of laughter, a world of smiles, and color, color, color everywhere. This at last was Mary's world.
Yes. So if you stuck around to watch that, I thought it was so lovely. Got to see all of her beautiful art and see that journey that she took to make that ride so beautiful and unique. So just like Mary Blair made It to Small World, we're going to be making our own small world. Okay, so I'm going to turn to the next one. So basically, you guys will or should have received by this time some documents in your email containing printable, trying to move so you can see, make your own small world, of these squares that make up Mary Blair's artwork. So we have squares, we have some buildings that are pre-made, and so the materials we'll need are paper, the background paper, the printable squares that I was talking about, scissors, glue, and some sort of coloring methods. You use crayons, markers, even paints if you're feeling creative, anything like that. And the first step is to print out the Mary Blair squares that you received. And they should look like this. And there's also this next picture that you'll also receive of these buildings that are pre-made that you can cut out, rearrange, do whatever feels good to you. Also, some of my older Wonder School friends, if you want to draw your own building, you can too and add to it. But our step 2 is to cut out those shapes. You can ask for help or work on your cutting skills. And then once you have your shapes cut out, you're gonna glue them together to make your own buildings. And it'll look something similar to this, where your blocks are put together, they can be moved around, stacked really, really high or really, really short. However, it makes you feel like this is your world and how you want it to be. And then once you're done, this is a different picture, but of similar buildings. You can decorate and color using markers, crayons, if you have stickers, whatever kind of fun things you have around, just coloring in all those squares to make it look the way you want it to look. All right. So then once you've finished decorating and coloring in all your squares and using all those beautiful colors, those Mary Blair colors, then finally share your picture with the class. We want to see it. We want to see your beautiful artwork. Yes. So that is a general summary of our steps that we're going to go through. And stay tuned, as soon there will be a tutorial. I'm going to make it in front of you in a video. So I will see you in just a second. Okay. Let me turn off. Do, do, do.